Coming up on Apologetics for All.
Jesus repents of his racism and extends healing to this woman's daughter.
Jesus repents of his racism? Oh, come on! Seriously? Hello and welcome back to another video on this channel. Today it's a Tuesday, but I'm doing a reaction video nonetheless. I saw one of you guys suggest me to react to this video in my Discord server. You could see that down below. And as a result, I decided to react to this video. I clicked on the video and I saw, well, not to be mean, I saw some stupidity.
Mark, where Jesus uses a racial slur. In Mark chapter 7, there's the account of the Syrophoenician woman, a woman who is Syrian and Greek, both of which there were strong biases against within the Jewish community. And she comes to ask Jesus to heal her daughter who's possessed by a demon. And what is Jesus' response? He says, "It's not good for me to give the children's food," meaning the children of Israel's food, "to dogs." He calls her a dog.
Does this guy know what a metaphor is? I mean, he's meant to be a writer. Let's search this. Pastor Brandan Williams. Pastor Brandan Robertson. He's meant to be a writer, and he doesn't know what a metaphor is? He doesn't know what an illustrative technique is, and he's a writer? Man, I only wrote one book. This guy wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He wrote 7 books and still doesn't know what a metaphor is? Man, this guy is... How is he... He calls the guy a dog. Like, come on, people. I mean, you're not meant to be that stupid. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but... if someone uses a metaphor, it doesn't mean they're calling the person exactly what it is in the metaphor. Like if I say, I'll bet my bottom dollar that someone's going to win like the World Cup or something like that, it doesn't mean I'm going to bet every single dollar that I have to that they're going to win the World Cup. That's a figurative speech. And to use a metaphor is like, well, this is a good analogy. It's a good representation of the facts. It's not to say that what they're representing is exactly the same as the representation. Like, that's just stupid. Like, the guy doesn't know English, man. And he should be like a... I can't assume anything, but this guy should be a decent guy at English. He wrote 7 books or something like that. He's quite an outspoken person. Let's look a bit about his person. I don't want to make this completely an ad hominem attack, but you have to think that someone with this like background, with this understanding of the issue, should at least be slightly knowledgeable about the situation. Let's check his account. He had a Bachelor of Arts in Pastoral Ministry and Theology from Moody Bible Institute, and he doesn't know exactly what a metaphor is. I mean, has he read the Bible? Has this man read the Bible? Like, he should have. But if he read the Bible, surely he knows what a metaphor is, what a parable is. But it seems like he's completely ignorant about it and is wanting to impose his beliefs onto literally everything, and instead of exegeting the Bible, eisegetes the Bible. Instead of trying to learn what you want from the Bible, you're imposing your interpretation onto the Bible, and you're like, you're not reading the Bible, you're just reading yourself into it. And that's like something what psychology does. You fight the monster and you kind of become the monster instead of trying to like critique it. What they've critiqued is just themselves. I think that thing's bad, but to be honest, it's me who's bad. What you see in others, it's normally what you see in yourself. It's a reflection of that. And what he sees in the Bible is like, I constantly think these small things. Using a metaphor is racist. And it's like, well, that's a bit dodgy, innit? Like, the moment he sees a metaphor and finds it potentially racist, his preconception that the Bible or Jesus is racist, his bias in some sense, makes him believe that Jesus is a racist from misusing the metaphor. So what we see here is actually a fundamental or very simple psychological fact, which is that he personally doesn't have the ability to separate the thinking, the psychology, from the reality. He can't separate the text, the actual text itself, from his own interpretation and his own preconception to the text, his original biases. And from not being able to separate from these two things, the truth is veiled from his eyes. So that's clearly a bit of a problem here. So let's continue watching it.
What's amazing about this account is that the woman doesn't back down. She speaks truth to power.
She speaks truth to power? I mean, that's just one of those like cheesy old lines. This person speaks truth to power. I'm going to speak some truth to God now. Well, there's something just a bit off with that, you know? It's like, of course you speak truth to power, but that's not what the woman is doing. What the woman is doing is representing her ideas. It's not really, I'm critiquing Jesus, because how could you possibly critique God? It's like, he's a Christian, or at least I hope he's a Christian. What he's trying to present here is the woman's right and Jesus is wrong. That's what he's trying to do here. However, in reality, it's Jesus is right, and it's a test for the woman to respond via wisdom. So let's continue listening here.
Jesus and says, well, you can think that about me, but even dogs deserve the crumbs from the table. Her boldness and bravery to speak truth to power actually changes Jesus' mind.
Boldness and bravery, yes, but that doesn't mean that he changed Jesus' mind. If this man understands the biblical text, which I hope he should actually know about how to read the Bible. I mean, I haven't had any education in that sense about reading the Bible or stuff, but I mean, and don't take me as an expert on this, but it seems quite clear that his interpretation is quite off. And to say that she was correcting the Bible in any ways is just shambles, you know? Like, the metaphor, and I think I haven't talked about it yet, so I'll talk about the metaphor here. It's like, well, the food on the table, let's not give it to the dogs. What Jesus is not saying is that the dogs aren't worthy of the food, because Jesus doesn't say we should starve dogs or anything like that, even if you take it literally. What he is saying is that, well, the actions, the miracles, are meant for the Jews. The purpose of those is to reach out for the Jews, the Israelites, and the promised land, those people first. So that's why he is having that separation between the Jews and the Gentiles. It got nothing to do with derogatory words or one group is less important than the other group. It's got nothing to do with race at all. It's just saying, well, this group of people who I already signed a treaty with are going to get the miracles first.
Jesus repents of his racism and extends healing to this woman's daughter.
Jesus repents of his racism? Oh, come on! Seriously? Did this guy actually say that?
Jesus repents of his racism.
Jesus repents of his racism. Boy, this guy is... what should I say? A bit poor. And I feel very bad for the people who actually trust him. I mean, when smart people say stupid stuff, you delude the people and you're tricking the people to believe your narrative. And when that happens, it's very dangerous because people with influence, people with power, have a very strong or very powerful tool that they can use to twist the beliefs of others. And since they trust them, they're abusing that trust to spread falsehood. And in some ways, since I am not the one who has as much influence as he does, by making this video, in his own words, I am free
to speak truth to power.
So, let's continue watching.
Extends healing to this woman's daughter. I love this story because it's a reminder that Jesus is human.
Yes, Jesus is human. But he's God as well. Like, that's the entire point of Christianity. It's not just Jesus is human, but Jesus is the God-man. He's a perfect God coming down to man. And any other interpretation of that is just pure heresy.
Prejudices and bias, and when confronted with it, he was willing to do his work. And this woman was willing to stand up and say,
okay, that's just a repetition of this. So I think, well, it's going to be quite a short video here to respond to that, but I think we've seen the significant flaws with this guy. I could just imagine, you know, you have the traditional picture of God reaching his hand out to people, but instead of God reaching out to the people and Adam being on the other ground lying up to it, the person lying up to it is this Brandan guy who doesn't really understand what he's talking about, and then instead of God, it's excuse me, what the WTF guy just reaching out, it's like, what you saying about me? And I think that's what I think in my going through my mind right now. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and yes, you may have a lot of masters and these degrees, but that does not, apparently it doesn't really translate to appropriate usage of the text. This is not an attack against the guy, I just think he has dreadful reasoning, and reasoning that I have exposed quite clearly why it's wrong in this video. So, without further ado, let me end off with a joke that my friend put on the Discord server, which you can find in the link in the description below. Essentially, let's use the deductive argument against, a semi-deductive argument against Brandan. Number one, Jesus was racist. That's what Brandan thinks. Number two, God can't sin. He's a Christian. He has to think that. Number three, but Jesus is God. I mean, he's either a Christian and believes that Jesus is God, or is not a Christian and doesn't believe Jesus is God. But since he's a Christian, let's suppose Jesus is God and he believes in that. So if it follows that Jesus was a racist and Jesus is God, that means racism is definitely not a sin. And if racism is not a sin, then, and is indeed done by God, as a follower of Christ, shouldn't this Pastor Brandan Robertson start racially abusing people? Because he's a Christian and he should follow Christ, and Christ is a racist, and that means he should racially abuse people. Yes, that's deductively proven that you should racially abuse people, and that is what Brandan Robertson wanted to do with his entire thing. I'm joking. He probably doesn't believe in that, but that's the conclusion, or that's the result of his belief. So, without further ado, hope you have a great week. I'll see you soon in the next video where I do another verse of the day. Hope you have a great one. Stay safe. Like always, God bless. Have a great one. Have good fun with your friends and family. Stay safe. Goodbye. See you in the next one. Thank you for watching.